There are two forces powerful enough to destroy all civilization. One is unchecked climate change. The other is nuclear war. One has a timescale of decades, the other minutes and hours. With a staggering 26,000 nuclear weapons around the world, the risk of nuclear destruction remains high, and it's growing. The governments with nuclear weapons are not disarming, even though they're legally obliged to. Worse, they're developing and building new weapons and plans for their use. Every nuclear warhead poses a direct threat to our health, security and survival. Thousands are kept on hair trigger alert, ready to be launched within minutes. And sadly, the list of nuclear-armed nations is larger today than it has ever been. There's an urgent need to act. The international doomsday clock was recently moved to just 5 minutes to midnight. There's no time to waste.
The basic message about nuclear weapons is really a pretty simple one. So long as any country has nuclear weapons, others will want them. So long as anyone has them, they're bound one day to be used, by accident or by design, and any such use would be absolutely catastrophic. That was the basic message that came out of the Canberra Commission on the Elimination of Nuclear Weapons, which I had something to do with putting together in 1996. That was also the very basic message of the Blix Commission on the Weapons of Mass Destruction, which I was a member of. And it's a message that really does need to be heard, along with quite a few other messages about the dangers of nuclear weapons. The international situation really now is as fragile in this respect as it's ever been.
But there is some cause for hope. Around the world, support is growing for the urgent abolition of nuclear weapons. Henry Kissinger, George Shultz, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Gordon Brown, Kofi Annan, Mikhail Gorbachev, Pope Benedict, the Dalai Lama, Paul Keating and Malcolm Fraser have all recently supported this call. The International Campaign to Abolish Nuclear Weapons, ICAN, initiated by a group of Australian doctors, is a global grassroots movement which is gaining momentum. Its aim is simple: to convince governments to support a nuclear weapons convention, a treaty that would comprehensively ban and eliminate nuclear weapons.
I'm glad to support the campaign for a nuclear weapons convention. The Commission on Weapons of Mass Destruction that I headed said that we ought to have an outlawing of nuclear weapons, just as we have outlawed the biological weapons and the chemical weapons by conventions. And you and I can participate in this work.
And I can certainly envisage a world that is nuclear weapons free, that has abolished nuclear weapons. We all must envisage that and work to make that a reality.
The only thing stopping us from banning the world's worst weapons of terror is a lack of political will. We need middle powers like Australia to lead the charge in developing a nuclear weapons convention. I'm pleased that during last year's election campaign, the Labor Party expressed strong support for such a treaty. Robert McClelland, then Shadow Foreign Minister, said, "The proposal to develop a nuclear weapons convention is timely and responsible." Ultimately, the question to be asked is not why there should be a nuclear weapons convention, but why the international community has not yet agreed to start negotiating one. A Rudd Labor government will take up the cause. I'm proud that Labor has made this important commitment, and I'm sure that our contribution to the elimination of nuclear weapons can be as decisive as it was for chemical weapons. A model nuclear weapons convention was tabled at last year's NPT meeting, circulated to world leaders, and then presented to the UN General Assembly. This convention would work in much the same way as the Chemical Weapons Convention, the Biological Weapons Convention, and the Mine Ban Treaty. It would give effect to the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty's binding nuclear disarmament obligations. It would prohibit all aspects of the development and testing of nuclear weapons. It would include measures to prevent the manufacture and spread of fissile materials and establish a framework for the elimination of existing stockpiles. It would include a comprehensive system of verification along with confidence-building measures. Now, with the support of governments and the momentum of public opinion, the time is right for this Nuclear Weapons Convention to become law. This will be our pathway to a safer future and the Australian Labor Party's lasting gift to the world.